Jason Lee Podcast.
Welcome back to an all-new episode of the Jason Lee Podcast. Whew, it's hard out here running cities.
Very hard.
A lot of people can't say that. Some of you are still running the streets like I used to. Listen, it's been a week over here at the Jason Lee Podcast. LA is still on fire today. Just so we're clear, LA is on fire now. I can tell you, having driven down the streets, I don't see doom and gloom as we do on social media. Social media does make you think the entire city and county of Los Angeles is on fire. It is not. Shout out to Mayor Karen Bass and the fire chief that are doing a great job, the best that they can do under the circumstances, because some of the fires have been 100% contained. Mm-hmm. Our studio is still standing, therefore Marina and Rob still have a job, and I still have something to do. All right, so look, today is going to be a show where we get into a bunch of wide-ranging topics, and I'm bringing my therapist, Elliot Connie, here, who has a new book, and we're going to go ahead and give him permission to just bypass all the HIPAA laws and get straight into my head and share with you all the things that God actually put in my mind to help you have a better day. And I did a good deed the other day that I feel very proud about. Some people think that I just have this cold, decrepit heart. No, I actually care. Rob had a dog. And his dog's name was Demi, and the dog was a boxer that he loved. Had the dog for 13 years.
10, yeah.
10 years. That's a long time. The dog passed away how long ago?
About a year and a half ago.
A year and a half ago. So Rob mopes around the office every day talking about how he thinks he's ready for a dog. He needs a dog. And in fact, he made me really think about, wow, people really fall in love with their animals. And they become like their kids. Well, his dog passed away. The other day, me and my whole team were figuring out a way to surprise Rob with a new dog. So I told him that I was going to fire my assistant, but I wanted him to come to my house to talk about it, while Marina drove an hour and a half with my makeup artist, Kaylin, as her witness in case she was jacked and robbed, going to pick up the dog from her abuela. Right? I'm
yes,
so far
facts.
okay?
Yep.
Johnny was hired to come and film the whole thing, yet he doesn't know how to make a surprise because he left his car in the driveway, which could have been seen by Rob, who arrived 5 minutes after him. And then Rob came to my house, and we surprised Rob with a brand new dog. Do you want to reveal where's the animal?
She's right here. This is... let me get her.
It's a process, y'all.
This is Dolce.
And just like a gay, he named it after a high-end brand.
Period.
Or Dulce if you're Spanish.
Dolce,
Yes.
no, Dolce is no longer living in the Spanish home. Dolce is now a dog in America. All right, well, Dolce is the cousin of Gucci and Chanel. All we need now is somebody on the team to get a dog named Dior, and we officially...
Johnny's the last one.
We're officially a house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so how was the first night?
It was good. I had to get up every 4 hours to make sure she peed on the pee pad, and she did. So she's a good girl. And she didn't cry at all.
She's so quiet.
I think she's a little hot right now. She's a little toasty
Okay,
in the
well, it's
studio.
good to see you, Dolce. We got a show to do. Go away.
Bye.
Bye. All right, enough with the mushy stuff. Let's get to what you came here for. It's time for the tea with Jason Lee. You know what's so crazy these days? I listen to gospel music and allow that to usher me closer to the Lord. I don't go to church. Why? Because it's too much happening in the church. Pastor facing arrest in church while the service is happening, and yes, he happens to be black. These are the type of stories I don't like to talk about, because anytime we are a mass shooter or doing something weird with kids or doing something weird in the church, I always hope that it's, well, because somebody's doing it, that they don't look like us. Well, this one does. Popular prophet E.J. Newton. I almost thought it said Magic Johnson's son, E.J.
King
Johnson. I was going to say, well, what in the dress is happening here? Well, E.J. Newton was detained during a recent church service as part of a parental kidnapping case. Now, while delivering his sermon to his congregation in Miami, Newton was stopped by someone off camera asking to speak with him. Obliging to the request, he put his microphone down, told his congregation to pray to themselves and send that Cash App in, and he walked off stage. He was then met by the Miami police officers and questioned outside, as seen in videos that he uploaded to Instagram. Now, here is the initial viral clip that this pastor, who's close to God, wanted you to see. Take a look.
Your neighbor quickly and touch their mind. Everything okay? Perry, is everything okay there? Is everything okay? Sorry? Coming to speak to you for a second. Absolutely, absolutely. I'll be right back, church. I'm sorry. No worries, no worries. You guys just pray. Pray, pray, pray.
Do you mind coming down and speaking with us for a second?
Sorry.
Do you mind coming down and speaking with us
Can
for
you
a
just speak to
second?
me for a second?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank
I'll be
you.
right back, church.
Sorry for the interruption, everyone.
No worries, no worries. You guys just pray. Pray, pray, pray.
The level of third-party embarrassment I'm feeling right now is so sad. Those little kids didn't know what was going on. All they wanted to do was eat their Cracker Jacks and go to church and hear the word of God, and here you come doing some weird shit and getting arrested. I also don't think the police had to come in and get you in the middle of the sermon. They could have waited until you passed that collection plate around, because we know there's 3 breaks for that to happen. Well, in the caption of his post, Pastor E.J. Newton shared his side of the story and also suggested that speaking up against occultism and witchcraft in the church was the true reason behind the raid. What in the Bobby Jones gospel? Look at this. This happened during service. I've been secluded by the police, not allowed to leave. The moment I stepped off stage, our online service was flooded with false accusations. They, the same people who recruited my ex-wife, are now working together. They have my ex-wife claiming that I'm trying to flee the country in the middle of a parenting schedule case. A judge granted emergency extraction. They had people come also in the service, which we spotted. This whole thing has been so weird, but let me be clear. I am not fleeing. I never plan to go anywhere. Now they're searching members' cars and preventing them from leaving church grounds, but God will prevail. I will not stop speaking truth and exposing darkness. If this is the cost of repentance and speaking up against occultism and witchcraft in the church, then use me, Lord. Purify me. Strengthen me. Make me more like you. I love my children, and this breaks my heart. My babies do not deserve this. I am a grateful father, a great husband. Unto thee, O Lord, do I lift up my soul. Psalm 25:1. Hear my cry, O Lord, attend to my prayer. This is what victory looks like. This is what victory looks like. My message today was, He saved me. Yes, He did. Jesus is in my boat. We have victory. That was about as tired as that outfit you had on. And look, I'm not cursing at anybody in terms of me speaking with a forked tongue to somebody who speaks to God, because I talk to God too. In fact, hold on. God said you full of shit. And I'm going to tell you, this is the problem with people in churches, and this is why I stay at home. I play Karen Clark Sheard, somewhere between Pastor Mike, Yolanda Adams. I still throw you in there. What's the lady name that they canceled? My friend that did the Whitney thing. No, stop. You being messy. The other one. Whitney Houston. Who came? What's her name?
Kim
Thank
Burrell.
you.
Kim Burrell.
Even Kim Burrell. Let's throw her in the mix. Kim, I know who you are. Just a brain fart. I'm trying to keep you out the mess. All right. This is why I don't allow people, just anybody, to preach over you, because it'd be people like this playing around with thee and this and that. All you need to say is Jesus on the main line. Tell him what you want. He wants you to stop playing with him. When you look at this and how he's now he literally said all the problems he had with his ex-wife, his kids, and fleeing and this and that. And then threw the Lord in the scripture in there. Is that manipulative gaslighting?
Yeah, I think both people in this situation are weaponizing groups that they shouldn't. The wife is using the police as a tool, and then he's using God and his congregation as a tool for his side of the situation. Whatever mess y'all got going on at home, leave that mess at home. This is problematic.
Yeah, I remember the time they weaponized Domino's against me when I pissed Ariana Grande off, and they sent all these pizzas to Rob's house, because my business when I first started it was registered at Rob's house. So when the Arianators, or whatever y'all are called, that terrorist group sent like tons of pizza to Rob's house. So he called me talking about, do you want some pizza? No. Why? Because there's a lot of pizza at his house. Did you eat the pizza?
No, and they tried to make me pay like $400 for the pizza. I'm like, why would you deliver $400 worth of pizza without charging the person who ordered it? So they were trying to force me to pay the bill. I'm like, I'm not paying for this pizza. I didn't order it.
And I'm equally as offended at the way that you're trying to use my Lord, EJ. Now, blogger Larry Reed also claimed that Newton's ex-wife accused him of kidnapping their children by failing to return them following a visit. Now, Reed also confirmed that church members were forced to remain inside the building until Newton's children, along with their passports, were returned safely to their mom. Be careful who you have kids with, y'all. This is the problem with some of y'all. Y'all be so quick to get on your knees. Well, if you were on your knees properly, you wouldn't have kids. But anyway, those of you that are having kids by the wrong people, this is what happens. I don't feel sorry for you. In fact, everybody in your church should flee to the nearest church next to you because by the looks of things, and you know, I tend to be somebody who has a good read of people, right? I don't know. It's something, this thing that God gave me where I can read people. Mm-hmm. Just the way he was looking in the audience looked like, damn, I just got caught, right?
It was sus.
Mm.
But that post was great. It was great PR.
He looks like a broadcaster on Beagle Live. He doesn't look like a pastor pastoring. Anyway, where was he gonna go?
I don't know. But if you have to check my glove box in my trunk so I can leave the church, I'm not going.
Now, in all seriousness, I will say, those of you who do want to have a relationship with God like I do, I know you're watching this segment. You're going, there's no way Jason has a relationship with God. You see I'm blessed. Let's not play. Just keep it moving. If you are going to go to a church, make sure that when you walk in, you pay attention to how you feel. That is how I judge whether I can even stand in church. I will never forget, here in Los Angeles, one time I went to a church. It happened to be a gay church. Now, look, for all of you gays out there, I'm in your community. Please don't throw your rainbows at me. I'm just telling you. I went to a gay church one time here in LA, and I've been to other churches that welcome gay people in. And look, I think that churches welcome people in, whether you're straight, gay. God don't care about none of that. You can argue in the car on your way to Dairy Queen on that one. Well, anyway, I went to this gay church, walked in, felt the spirit immediately. I should have left, but I said, I'm just going to stay, whatever. Mid-prayer, somebody tapped me on my shoulder, talking about, what's up, can I get your number? In mid-prayer, eyes closed, trying to connect to the Lord. But I remember in that moment, not only was this person not even cute enough to ask me such question, but to tap me and distract me and disrupt the connection in prayer told me everything I needed to know about that church. Then I looked up there and all the pastors had on Converse because they were the cool gays. I never went back to that church. My brother also started mooing when a lady walked in with black and white spots on in her dress. It was all inappropriate. There was a spirit in that church. There are spirits in that church. So when you talk about a spiritual leader, make sure you know what that leader's spirit is actually doing. I'm sorry. Don't know you personally. Don't want to know you. And in fact, my God said it's time for you to go. Bye. All right, y'all know I'm black, but my mama white. Well, this white mom, she is braiding black hair. I know this story is going downhill from here. And Marina, you won't catch any stray bullets on this one. All right, E.B. Hepworth. Damn, that's a white name. A white mom. Now, she's the mother of an adopted black daughter. She recently went viral after revealing that she's committed to learning how to braid her daughter's hair. E.B., who is an advocate for adoption and special needs, is also the adopted mother to a black son who, in her care, was diagnosed with and healed of the Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Not sure what that is, but that's something for you to Google. And with her husband, Zach, Evie shares her younger miracle twin boys. Let me show you a photo of the family. So this is the two white parents, their two white kids, and their black adopted kids. Now, Evie says for 8 years, she's been learning the art of braiding, and her hands are getting better each time. She added, I'm committed to growing and learning. She also shared this viral video on her social media pages so y'all could see the work she put in. Look.
Come with me as we braid my daughter's hair. As a white mother to a beautiful black daughter, I know that this is more than just a routine. This is a sacred act of care. It's a tangible way to honor the beauty that she carries. And from the very beginning, I want to say it's been my priority to learn how to care for her hair, to understand its language, its stories, its strength. When we first lived in Liberia, we got to live with a beautiful family that taught me the art of braiding. And I say art because it is so that. This woman's hands showed me what mine could someday hold. A skill, yes, yes, but also a connection, an honor of heritage that I knew I could never fully grasp, but I could deeply respect. And before you come at me, I will be the first to admit that I have so much to learn. There are most days where I'm acutely aware of how far I have to go, okay? But I want to tell you I'm committed to the journey because this matters. My daughter matters. I want her to look in the mirror and see a crown woven with dignity and pride and love. I want her to know that her hair is more than beautiful. It's powerful. It's unique. It's worthy of celebration. I want her to grow up confident in caring for it and finding joy in the styles that make her feel the most like herself. And there have been moments that I fumbled that I want to just unravel, but beautiful mentors have taught me the way. And so to the white moms raising black daughters, I want to say this. Learn, not out of duty, but out of love, because your daughter's hair is more than just strands to be tamed. It's tapestry of culture and identity and resilience. And learn so she can grow up with the confidence to wear the crown boldly, because she's worth it. She's so worth it.
I'm going to defer to Marina first. What do you think?
Hey, that was so cute.
Are you crying?
Yeah, little. That was so cute.
Oh.
When she was like, learn out of an act of love. That's so cute. I think this is really cute.
It's gonna be your life.
If I adopted an African baby too, I would like feel like I have to learn how to do that. That's so cute.
I mean, if you
And she
just
was-
have a baby.
If I have,
Because you're dating a black man.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
her
I
kid
mean,
her
yeah.
kid wouldn't have 4C hair though.
But you still,
know
I mean,
what?
braiding is still associated with black hair. It doesn't have to be 4C hair.
But what I'm
It's
saying,
so
and the reason why I
cute.
bring it up is I know the sensitivity around black women and their hair. This young girl probably has
Yeah.
her own thoughts. She may not have them as most black women do yet. On one hand, the Lord in me is saying that is a beautiful thing to be able to see
so
the
cute.
vulnerability of a white mother who's caring for a black child who needed adopting, who's taking the time to demonstrate the challenges, but also the overcomings of that experience, and the fact that she's doing it in love is a testimony for other mothers that are white raising black kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it, and I think that was great. There was a part that made me extremely uncomfortable watching her stroke the weave and
You know,
and
She was
installing the weave. I don't. It's like those movies where you see the owners go and find their slave and then start playing with it. Not saying that that's what she was doing, but it made me a little uncomfortable. Because my mother never tried to be a mother to a black kid. Well, she clearly gave me up, so she was the mother while she could be, but damn, that didn't go right. But you know what I mean? Like, Madonna has all her kids that are adopted are black. And I see her interact with her son. I haven't seen her with her daughters, but we don't see Madonna installing wigs and weaves and all that. We see her just loving her children. I think I'm just struggling with the fact that on one hand, I know that was a nice, sweet, intentionally sweet thing. But on the other hand, it was like playing with her black doll. You know, I just don't like seeing that. I don't know. In the comments, y'all are watching.
but she
having a
said she
reaction.
was like living in Liberia, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Who was living in Liberia?
The mom.
the mom.
Okay. Is she a part of the slave trade?
You know what? No, but
Oh,
I
that's
feel
Libya.
Oh my
Or
God.
whatever. But I'm just saying, like, what does that mean?
I don't know. I just feel like she's not just doing it just for like clicks and like viral stuff. Like she was really invested. Like
Like she
I
has a
would-
genuine
yeah.
respect
I would have
for it.
loved to have her daughter telling the
It didn't.
story of her white mother doing her hair and
the
helping her.
next
That
clip.
to me would have been a more palpable. Is it palpable? Is that the word?
Yeah.
Peculiar.
There we go again.
That would be a more palpable story for me if the daughter was, today I'm getting my hair done and I asked my mom, and she's not even acknowledging her whiteness. She's just telling the story of her mom doing her hair and then telling the story of the process. People would be like, damn, that white mom is helping her daughter with her hair, and from the daughter's POV. I don't know. I rescued my little black baby, and I'm doing her little black
No,
hair.
it
and this
didn't
is
give
for
that,
all you
though.
white people with the black kid.
But I
I
think
thought that's what it was
yeah.
gonna give at first. Before when you set it up, I'm like, oh shit.
But you
this is
start
about to be
crying
some
because you could
fuckery.
identify.
Yeah, and I'm like,
But I think that's what she wanted. She wants
Yeah.
white people who
To
adopt
learn.
black children or who have a relationship with young black children to have a respect for their heritage and culture, and not just because that little girl could grow up in an environment where she sees her mother, she sees her father, she sees her white siblings, and if they had no connection to her hair or tried to like educate her about her hair, she could feel a kind of way growing up. But I think this is important, and I think this woman is trying to tell other white people, like, have respect for these kids if you bring them into your home.
She even said, like, before you come for me, blah blah blah. Like,
her intentions, I think, are great, are positive. I believe it. I'm not. Let's be very clear. I'm not saying I think that she did something wrong. I'm saying how I felt watching her do something that she felt was right. Meaning that I just, the stroking of the weave and the insert.
Well, that's the process. Damn.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be like seeing her say, you know, I want to get out here with my sharecroppers and pick these tomatoes.
You know what?
You know, like what? Like what? We get it. We all eat tomatoes, but like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I don't know. I think it's great that white people want to adopt black babies too, right? Some do it as a hobby because there is that thing. And then others really do it out of love. And I'm speaking as a foster kid, so please miss me on all the who you can't take. I never lived with a white family. I don't think I could have lived with a white family because I think it's hard for folks to do it.
Yeah.
It ends up in a tutorial. Now we have a tutorial about how white people can do black hair. Like, I don't know. I am feeling uncomfortable. You guys tell me if I'm overreacting in the comments. I probably am. I think, again, let's be very clear. I think that what Ebby was trying to do was right. And to her, the intention was right. Yeah. And it made you cry.
Yeah, this is also cute. And the music, it was a cute video.
Well, she could have played India Aria, I'm Not My Hair.
No, she could have too. But
oh my God.
She probably didn't know the song.
But this is also the result of an oversharing culture. Like, we got to put everything on social media.
I'm going to do my Negro's hair today. I can't. Well, should white adoptive parents or any parent adopting a child outside of their culture be obligated to learn their child's native culture and traditions? That's the question. Yeah, I think so. I don't think she needs to go and do a tutorial on cooking chitlins and black eyed peas because that's probably up next. But I do think, I think Madonna, and I'll use her as an example, not because she's Madonna, not because she's my little sister, and not because she's a friend, but I really watch how she raises her black children alongside her white children. And when I seen her and her son, when we all have hung out, it's like true friendship. And he's able to really step into who he is as an individual. And he's very eclectic. If you go to her son's Instagram, I don't know it, but go find him. He's about 18, 19. I mean, you know, his individuality is there, and she's somebody that stands for that. I don't know. I don't really. I see her intentionality in having kids from where they come from, but she's not putting them on for display. She acknowledges their culture and how they dress and tradition, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure she paid somebody to braid the hair, though. She ain't have to do it.
Right.
Now, should parents be encouraged to teach their children their history? Like, should she make sure she's enrolled in Maya Angelou courses and, you know, Sojourner Truth experiences and all that?
100%. Especially since they're trying to strip it out of the schools. She got to let that little girl know where she came from.
Well, she can't tell the Rosa Parks story and that Rosa's husband had a car.
He did?
You didn't know that?
No.
Wait, why I see that online somewhere? Joe Budden. Shout out to Joe Budden. Joe Budden revealed it on his podcast. Rosa Parks' husband drove. So what was she doing on the bus anyway?
Fighting for the movement.
This is not the
so she got on a bus to start shit just to
get
it going. Well, we're thankful for her. Now none of us ride buses because we're embarrassed to get on there.
You had to shut that system down to show the city they're going to lose money if black people ain't on the bus.
Listen, to all the white parents out there raising black kids, please continue to watch the show. We appreciate your support. I just don't want to see you with the weave and the installation materials. But look, I think that kids anywhere who need parenting and need families and need homes, if you have a home to offer to a kid, you should adopt them regardless of race. And most kids and most people don't want to see race. It is a real thing, though. We can't be blind to the fact that in a few days, this country is about to have a major shift where race is going to be at the forefront of everything we see on TV, every conversation that's had in school, every experience. Race is going to be real because y'all fucked up the election. All right? All right, white mom, bye. This next topic is interesting. Should kids forgive Deadbeats. Now, Elliot's here, and if you watch this on The Breakfast Club when I co-host, and he was there talking about his last book, we talked about my dad. Now, I'm not going to call my dad a deadbeat, my dad a deadbeat because he's deceased now, but I did talk on The Breakfast Club about my relationship with him, how I ended it, how I gave myself closure, and how he died 2 days after that interview, and I have since been good. He'll talk about that when he gets here. Well, my question now here is, should children be obligated to forgive their absentee parents? Besides relieving the parent of guilt, does forgiveness and forgiving a deadbeat parent truly give a child peace to move on? Now, Kai Sanat, he recently spoke with Shannon Sharp about giving his absentee father and how he's been financially helping him out and his other siblings. Take a listen.
You have a relationship with your father?
I do. I was just with him. Actually, I was just with him yesterday. The first Christmas I ever had with my pops.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
It was fine. It was good because like I have my whole family there, and like I understand. When I was younger, when I was younger, I used to be so hard on my pops. I didn't like want to like talk to him or nothing like that. My sister was very close with him, but as I got older, it's like I mature and I realized like, damn, like. Even though there's like no excuse for him a man
not to be there.
Yeah, for a man not to be there. It's just more of a like I've grown older to accept the fact and forgive. Like I don't know what was going on in the time of his life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what was going on. I don't know how stressed he was. I don't know how anything was. So when I did spend the Christmas with him, he was very happy, and like now I'm able to provide for my family. You feel me? And he has kids. He has kids with somebody else, and his little kids remind me of like me and my brothers when we was growing up. So I just want to be able to help my pops out, so that he can give his
those kids what he couldn't give you.
Yeah, what I wanted. You feel me? So it's just an amazing feeling. I was just with one of his son yesterday, and I met him for the first time, and he loves all my stuff. So it's like I got to see him, and I just want the best for my pops right now, so that he can give them the life, you know, that I always wanted.
Did your stepbrothers know that your dad, that their father and was your dad also? Did they know that before?
Yeah, so they knew. They at first like he called me, and then after it was one day I met them on FaceTime.
Okay.
But he always bragging to his friends, yo, Kai's my stepbrother, like Kai's my brother, and nobody believed him. And then like what he always calls me, and like his name is Benedict. He reminds me of like me when I was younger, like for real. So like it's just so far. Like he's a big supporter of mine, and when he found that out, he was going crazy.
Look, I've been open about my relationship with my dad, that I forgave him. And I think forgiveness is important for the individual, because I learned with my mom before she passed that forgiveness is less about that person. It's more about you, the individual, because you release all these things you don't even know you're holding on to. And then when I learned with my mom how to forgive her before she passed, I started handing out forgiveness left and right, like a Halloween candy. Because ultimately, you know, we harbor a lot of feelings we have towards people that then internalize in our own bodies, and then somehow affect how we care about ourselves or love ourselves, and teach other people how to love us. What do you think about what he said?
I feel like, me personally, I'm very close to both of my parents, but they've had an impact on me like a lot, and I feel like the absence of one parent is gonna have a big impact on you. But like you said, it's more on you. It's forgiveness is for you, not for the other person. So I feel like this is cute. And I know his dad is probably trying to get close to him now. Because I know Kelly Clarkson always said that her dad was never in her life until she got famous. And then he tried to like inch back closer. So I don't know.
Well, I'll give it to my dad. He didn't try to, the more success, money, fame, all that I got, he didn't try to get closer to me, which I respected.
Yeah.
But he didn't understand that in order for him to have a relationship with Jason, he had to be able to do it in Jason Lee's world. Because once I became a public figure and living my life out in the open and being transparent, I wanted everybody to see it. Everybody knows everything about me. Well, for the most part. You know everything I put out there. And I just feel like for you to publicly for you to have privately not been there and never be talked about in my public life, for me to talk about it and hopefully share with my audience my own journey, you had to be, and he didn't show up for me. So that was my choice in saying then we can't have no relationship.
Yeah, and I do think it's more about that individual person fulfilling whatever it is that they may need to fulfill out of resolving that relationship. But I do think there needs to be some kind of like awareness if a person pops back up when you start to find wealth and success, but they weren't popping back up when you weren't on that trajectory. So, but if it's for your own personal growth, by all means do it. But I think some, you know, in certain circumstances, just, you know, be aware of what could come.
Oh, of course. Listen, anybody trying to date me now that didn't date me when I was fat and broke, I'm sorry. No, don't want you. But more importantly, those who weren't in my life along the way and that have not, because, you know, that the getting here has been a journey. And people, you know, when I go back now that I'm in Stockton full time doing what I'm doing and running into people, some people are still where I left them 20 something years ago. And they want us to resume our life right where we left off. No, I've evolved. And through that evolution, you start to shed people, shed situations, shed environments, shed activities. And I'm just not the same person anymore. So, you know, I think when it comes to a family member, specifically a parent, I don't think that they're absolved of that experience either. Now, Kai's reunion with his father not only sparked a debate about children stepping up to forgive and reunite with their absentee parents, but about an ulterior motives parents may have with children who have grown to become successful. One person that comes to mind, Carlissa Saffold. When she was on the Jason Lee show, she talked a lot about how she had all these dreams and aspirations and none of them worked. They all failed. And then she wasn't the best mom. She struggled like my mom did, she didn't struggle with drug addiction. She struggled with, I think, putting her aspirations to be famous in front of raising her children, and then no man wanted her. And so what I've noticed is that now that Blueface has become famous, and we all love Blueface, you know that. Free Blueface. Where's it at? Free them today. I hate when people post gang members and say free the members. No, keep the members locked up. Free Blueface. But it's just seeing like Carlissa, like who wasn't as active in his life and who kind of abandoned him and moved around, whatever, to then pop up now. And now she's twerking online for fame because she's riding her son's coattail. It's just insane to me. Fighting at the award show. Rob banned you from the award show, by the way. He's the one that banned you.
Don't blame me.
You're the executive producer.
Oh, I just had to walk Claudia out.
Because she was trying to attack her.
Yeah.
Like a pit bull. Anyway, I don't know. Should you forgive your deadbeat parents? One thing I will say is, my mother, and I've said this story many times, when she said through her drug addiction she was doing the best she could. Understand when your parents tell you their limitations, or when they have things going in their life that they may not want you to be a part of, so they leave in order for them to get through stuff. You know, have forgiveness for them. You don't have to be active in their lives, but at least forgive them, give them the closure that they need, and then give yourself the freedom of working through those feelings so you can be at peace. To not do that, you're going to grow up and have a lot of issues and end up in having a podcast where they all come out.
But I feel like the blessing for you is that even though you weren't close to your dad, you're close to all your dad's family. Like all your closest relatives are on your dad's side, and that's so cute.
Well, yeah, I mean, define close, right? Like I'm close to some people. Yeah, I've allowed some people close to me now, but I'm not really that close to a lot of people. My friends, I have a very small group of people because I've been betrayed so much. Like when they used to betray me when I was just growing up and broke, it's like, okay, because you just whatever. But now, when you know better, you do better. You look at people and you're like, nah, I ain't gonna let you even. Somebody literally just betrayed me the other day and asked me for a favor today. The people these days live too long who do shit like that. Lord, do your job.
Oh God.
All right, bye. All right, now I have a question. What are the deal breakers in your partner's past? Now, on the heels of 2024 Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter and his fiancée, Leanna Lene, trending over her past social media, has been debating whether or not your partner's past is a deal breaker. Now, in previous episodes, speaking about Travis and Leanna, we've talked about her past comments about him not being her type at first, and we've shown resurfaced videos of her dancing on other men, and she claimed that he would drive her to parties and wait outside while she was up there twerking on other people. Now, as Leanna's past remained under a microscope, many celebrities spoke out, many in defense of their relationship. One of those people was... Where's it at? I gotta do it. Benzino. Who told Travis not to worry about his fiance's past as they build their future together. This is what Benzino, the one and only Benzino, had to say. Listen.
Hey, yo, this message for Travis Hunter, man. Listen, bro, I hope you get this message, man. I think you're an amazing athlete and even a better person, right? You deserve everything that you get and more, my brother. One thing I want to let you know, fuck all these people on the internet, bro. That's your girl, man. I don't give a fuck what she did before she met you, video, all this. Don't let these people, man, you know what I'm saying, fuck your moment up, bro. You love her, man, love her. It don't matter what she did in the past. That don't matter, man. What matters is if it's true love and it's real love, man, you love her, man. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing the matter with that. Don't let this internet shit throw you off because it's not even real. These people don't mean shit, all right? Anybody that's criticizing you about your woman ain't shit, all right, homie? You know what I'm saying? Man, keep shining, bro. You gonna...
Well, the question is, what would be a deal breaker in your partner's past? A stripper, an escort, a specific kind of felon, someone that dated maybe your ops? Let me think. Is there anything that you can do in your past that when I find out would make me change my mind? There's only one thing that I can think of, and that is falsifying your HIV test. Like, to me, if you falsify your health records and then I find out that it's not what I signed up for, I'm out. Now, some could say through better, through worse, all that. Nah, the worst thing you did was come and try to lie. I don't like liars, cheaters, stealers, people that do lie, cheat, steal. Those three things right there, those are the things that violate trust the most. And for me, there's no coming back from that. But when I meet a person, whatever they've done and whatever they tell me they've done or don't tell me they do, maybe they didn't think about it or they just didn't tell me, I wouldn't care. Because I don't know about you guys. Well, you're in a relationship, but and you and I can't find one.
Right.
I don't know I don't sit down with a person and say, tell me everything. Because I'm not their therapist. And I couldn't tell you all the things I've done in 47 years because I can't remember half the shit I did. Do we care about, are there deal breakers in what our partners have done?
No, and I agree with Benzino. Like I don't want to know. I'm not gonna sit down and be like, how many people did you sleep with before me? Like, I don't care. Like, that's your business. And whatever we're building now, to me, is what's most important. So the people we are together on this path is what's important. Like, we talk about redemption. Like, people may have done things in the past that they can be redeemed for. So I don't want to hold something from your past over your head. That's me.
Yeah. I feel like you should know everything before you even make them your partner. A lot of people just have like jump into a relationship and then later they find out like, oh shit, this happened. I don't like that.
Now,
But
the ex that I wrote about in my book, God Must Have Forgotten About Me, chapter, I can't remember what chapter, but the chapter title is Toxic Ass.
Oh, God.
In that chapter, I talk about the toxicity that we have. I mean, this was the most toxic relationship I ever had in my life. This is why today I will never date a Capricorn. I don't care how much I like you. Never. No. In fact, I think I'm pursuing one right now. Oh, my God. That one I may make, what do you call it? An exception?
An exception.
But here's the deal. He didn't tell me at the time. I found out later that his mother tried to drown him as a kid. So I think he had cognitive damage. And his cognitive damage, the cognitive damage had a lot of PTSD woven in it. And then a lot of how he reacted to situations came out of that. So I'm not going to say I think he was a little slow, but I think I should have known that. Like,
yeah, because how did that story not come out before you guys were official?
Because we were too busy having sex.
Oh, my God.
I mean, we didn't care. I was a lot younger then. It was like my priorities of sitting down and really examining a person's mental health were not the priority. Now, if I just get a glimmer of them being a serial killer or something weird, like any little weird shit, like anything. I think I told this story on the show. I had met two people on Hinge. I was tired because I had been on a boat all day. Were you with me? I don't know. You weren't with me. Sean,
yeah.
I think, was with me.
Yeah.
Well, I said, just meet me at this club. I had them both show up because I figured I'll just like one of them and then let the other go home or whatever. They both showed up at the same time. We all were hanging out. And one of them said, do you want to dance? And I said, no, I'm tired. I just don't dance. That's not what I do. And he went, ugh. I walked out. I literally said goodnight and left them both at the club. And unmatched them. Why? Because I know me. I don't have no desire to entertain. What? What if I say I have to go to city council because there's a crisis? What? You need to retire that.
Yeah, you could smell that drama coming. Like that's too. Yeah, you don't want to move into that relationship.
It was the cutest, but it was enough for me to go.
Flag was flagging.
And I just left. If you dated one of my ops, would I care? No, but I would care if you were still friends with one of my ops. Because the pillow talk in 2025 is at an all-time high.
Well, you know, now that you said something earlier, if you like killed 10 people and ate them and then went to prison for it, like I'm not gonna date you. That's not gonna be a thing.
Rob, I hope you would ask questions.
Or if you were a person who like killed animals and for fun, like I don't know if I could get over that kind of stuff. Like a little like violence to an extreme.
If they killed animals,
that's a deal breaker.
They're gonna kill you.
Maybe, unless they were like went through therapy. I don't know.
But you've been in handcuffs or tied up before.
For fun.
You do like S&M stuff, don't you?
Oh my God, S&M. Where are we going?
I mean, he doesn't like titles. Just put a do-rag on him. All right. Well, yeah, I don't know that there are many deal breakers. But I think for me, falsifying your health records, even if you ain't got nothing, automatic, no, boom, out. I was talking to somebody recently, and we were in therapy. And we're in it and we're talking. And one of the things that came up was their fear to get tested. I had been there. I thought you guys on my show were here when I discovered I was HIV negative. I had never taken an HIV test that I could think of, and I did it right before I came on the show and got my results. And I almost cried because I was like, Lord, I got more time. I've been in these streets for decades. Damn.
Well, you know, you saved me from that situation, but I actually do not harbor any like anger towards that person.
But you didn't date that person. Just tell the story. Can we tell the story?
I think we've told the story before
on this show.
Yeah, but we can tell it again. Yeah.
Rob was out of town, falling in love. I was here. I don't know what happened, but on the day he was falling in love with the person, somebody else told me how they were going to go after another person because they had given that person HIV, and that person was trying to give it to Rob so that way Rob could be in love with that person. They could have it together. And I called Rob and warned him before anything happened and saved his life.
He sure did. And they were begging me to have unprotected sex, and I was like, I don't do that.
Now like, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
But you broke that deal in a nice way. Me, I'm calling the authorities.
Oh my
Attempted
God,
murder. I'm calling the authorities.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. And this was like before
prep and all
prep
that,
and yeah.
And Rob was literally like, I'm staying out here for a while. I'm feeling in love. Meanwhile, that's the killer. He trying to kill you because somebody had because somebody had
allegedly
done it to him.
Mm-hmm.
So he wanted to do it to him to keep him. So like we got it together.
Yeah.
But it was the plotation of it all.
Right.
See, those type of things right there. I'm going to tell y'all right now.
Crazy.
If you ever want to see me on First 48, do some shit like that. Vice mayor or not. Because vice mayor don't got nothing to do with that. Yeah. Of course, I'm not going to put you in the ground, but it's going to take a lot for me to not want to put you in the ground.
He is actually such a sweet person, that to me that was very, very bad. But he's actually he's a really, really sweet person, and he was like
sweet.
He is,
right?
And that's why I don't harbor any ill feelings.
So is Ted Bundy. So is Jeffrey Dahmer. You know,
oh my God,
he's a kind person who had a bad thing happen to him,
but who wanted to do it to you?
Yeah, that's true. I know, but I still don't harbor any bad feelings.
Hopefully, he didn't do it to anybody else.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure he has.
Oh my God.
Absolutely. Well, we still don't like you, Lena, just so you know. And we know she's gonna break your heart. Man, we don't want her to break your heart because you've come so far. By the way, everybody keeps using this kid for clout. They keep posting conversations they have with this because they're trying to ride that wave. This wave is gonna come and go. Hopefully his career is intact. She won't be there. I wish somebody would ask me to drive them to a party while they had me wait outside while they're inside twerking on other. I'm getting mad right now, and it ain't even happening to me. Can you imagine that? Jason, can you take me over here and wait for me outside for hours while I'm upstairs with other people?
That's what I'm saying.
What in the low self-esteem are you allowing this to happen? This is I ain't gonna say it because I'm a vice mayor. I'm gonna just leave it alone. I think I'm the first vice mayor in U.S. history to have a job like this at the same time, right?
Possibly.
But it also gives me a lot of it's like a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But now every senator and congressperson has a podcast where they say ridiculous craziness to try and get clicks. Mm-hmm. So I mean, everybody's trying to be you on their day job too.
There's only one. All right. Good luck, y'all. But no, thank you. Okay. All right. I like this question right here. Can we live apart together?
I knew this was gonna make you so happy.
I love this topic because I think, and I'm gonna ask Connie this, Elliot, when he gets in here, because I'm in therapy trying to figure out what love for me looks like. I think if I'm with somebody who's with me for the most part, but also goes away, I think we could be married with kids. Think about it. I'm the vice mayor of Stockton. I live in Stockton. I work in LA. I'm in Stockton 4 or 5 days a week, or sometimes 3 days a week. And then I'm here for work. And then I travel a lot. And then hopefully they have a job. If not, they're at least in the gym 6 days a week and playing basketball on the weekends. But either way, can marriages or even non-marital relationships last longer when partners live separately? According to some social scientists, they say that more couples are staying together but living in separate homes for some good reasons. Now, there's even a given acronym, and the name of this lifestyle is LAT, living apart together. Now, journalist Michael Burkill first deemed the lifestyle LAT, or LAT, which is a Dutch word meaning stick. However, the acronym only started catching on in the English-speaking world in the past 2 decades. It's defined as two people in a committed romantic relationship who are seen by others as being a committed romantic couple, but they live in separate places. One couple who's taken this lifestyle and made it their own is somebody that I actually know, and I've actually seen many times together, and that is actress Cheryl Lee Ralph and her husband, her second husband, Vincent Hughes. Cheryl, who was first married to French businessman Eric Maurice from 1990 to 2001, married Vincent, a Pennsylvania senator, in July of 2005. And as they approached their 20th anniversary, she says what's kept them together is that they never actually lived together. This is what she said.
I'm very fortunate. The man that I am married to, Senator Vincent Hughes, 7th Senatorial District of Philadelphia, he has his own life. I have my own life. He has his own real career. I have my own real career. He has his light to stand in. I have my light to stand in. So he is not looking at me thinking about status or this or that. He's doing his thing. I get to do my thing. We also live in separate places. When I go to see him, love to see him. When it's time to leave, bye-bye, see you soon. I'm telling you, life is good.
Living for that. I believe I can do that. I tried to do that with, I ain't gonna say the first word, with Bay. Then I tried to do that with the little spoon. I said I'll have the condo in Miami. You live in Miami. I live in LA. This was before Stockton City Council, of course, but like I fly and see you, you fly and see me. But I think that kind of keeps the love alive. Rob wants you to smother him all day long. He wants you to walk and hold hands with him. He wants you to go and walk with the dog. He wants to go to Abbey with you for lunch. He wants to wake up and talk to you and have coffee, maybe co-meditate. I don't want that. I don't want to be suffocated by a person who has all the intentions of being around me all the time. What you doing? How you go? How's it going? What they doing in Stockton? Did you save this? Did you fix that? What about this? Do you want to get in the jacuzzi? What? Like, shut up talking to me already. Now, Cheryl has a situation where her man has his career. She has hers, as she said. They live in 2 different states. They have 2 different worlds. And when they come together, I'm sure it's cosmic and all things fireworks. And Rob wants to dim that light by driving this person to the deep end every night at dinner.
Listen, Shirley Ralph could sell water to a well. Like she could sell anything. But this, because who couldn't love that? But me, I want to share a blanket with you on the airplane. I want to brush my teeth while you're in the shower. Like I want to have, I want that kind of relationship. I do. I want that. But I don't want
in my living rooms. I got multiple blankets. Why do you need to share a blanket with somebody?
Like on a plane, you want to snuggle on a plane.
No, on a plane, I fly first class and there's 1 bed, not for 2. It's not made for 2.
They have the 2-seaters in the
first
class.
Okay, I'm okay with that. You lay in your bed, I lay in my bed, but don't reach over and hold my hand while I'm asleep.
See, now that's what I was gonna say. I agree with this new thing that people are doing where they have separate blankets in bed. Because one person might be hot, the other person might be cold. Like I understand that. I don't want to live in a separate house from you. That's just crazy.
That is crazy and a waste of money. That's why I feel like I'm in between for a reason, because I like what you're saying to an extent. I like what you're saying to an extent.
When you
don't wanna be
have
smarter.
money, that's not the problem, right? So they clearly
True,
have
true.
money.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have money. Even if my partner doesn't have money, I got money for both of us. That's your house. This my house. Like,
But that's a setup for bad
think,
stuff to
think,
happen.
think about this. You can live in LA. I will live in Stockton.
And you don't think you're not
Hold
gonna
on,
be like,
hold on. I'm gonna be in LA for work 2-3 days a week. I'm going to see you. I don't have to. I can FaceTime you. How many people do you know on social media that you think you really know? Because you FaceTime, you see each other's photos.
Okay.
We are in a oversharing culture, as we just said, where we feel like we know the person anyway. If I FaceTime, call you, talk to you, send message to you, this, that, order you lunch via Uber Eats and, you know, whatever, and then I come home for 3 days and leave, why would that not work? I think that would be
but
helpful.
then what's the point of being married? Like, why? That's just like any other friend then, or a boyfriend.
When you go away on vacation to Croatia with your family, who all don't know about your man.
No, they know. They know. Just my dad doesn't know.
Okay, well, your
They all
dad
know.
don't know. Now, when you're gone, don't you miss him?
Yeah.
And does he miss you?
Yeah.
And when you come home, don't y'all have? It doesn't feel good to come home.
Mm-hmm.
Do that repeatedly. That's
Daily?
what it feels like. Maybe do that. That's once a month. You go to Chicago for 4 days a week. You come home. That's what they're doing on a more regular basis. That's why they're surviving a 20-year marriage. First of all, you can't even stay in a relationship for 20 days.
Well, I'm just saying this. I'm saying this. You're saying this as if you would be able to survive off of 4 days of intimacy a month. Like, come on.
People around.
The new sober politician Jason just barely had sex yesterday. And do you know how long it was before that? I don't even know. Because it ain't like it used to be when I was on that testosterone. Not for those purposes, because I was getting my testosterone levels up. Not any drugs, but you know, when I was on testosterone, which caused you to have a higher sex drive. You know, when I was out there in the streets tearing them down with the big old bulk chains, and I thought I was a rap. I don't know what I was going through. Thank God he delivered me from alcohol. Because that wild Jason needing to be, you can't be a bachelor at 62. We are not going to be there. I'm not going to be.
I would rather be in a relationship where I'm brushing my teeth and you in the shower. But if I'm not, I'm still going to be at the club.
Let's just talk about me. I don't want anybody, nobody even can come in my bathroom while I'm getting ready because that's my time. I like to be by myself. Yeah, even here when I'm in there getting ready, nobody comes in until I am put together. And then Kaylin comes in and then she finishes it off. And then I go on to You're annoying.
I want a rom-com relationship.
Every day?
I want a romantic.
Okay. But why do you
happy,
need? But I think you have abandonment issues and codependency issues, and we're gonna ask Connie about that because why do you need to be in the bathroom brushing your filthy teeth while I'm taking a shower?
Just because we're close.
But
it doesn't
see,
matter.
okay, Max was my first roommate ever. I never lived with a guy. Ever, never. And when we moved together, I was like, I need 2 separate bathrooms and 2 separate showers and 2 separate toilets because we have our own closet and we have our own, but in the same apartment. Like, to me, that's weird to have 2 houses. Why don't you have different floors?
Both homes have 4 bedrooms. Go sleep in your room. We can have the room together, but go sleep. There's some days I want you to go sleep in your room because there are days I want to lay vertically across the bed or horizontally. I want to maybe flip upside down in the middle of my sleep.
Why don't you have different wings of one house?
Or 2. Why do I have to see you every day? It doesn't mean I love you less because I don't see you every day.
That's true.
Distance makes the heart grow fonder. That's what the white people say.
Don't you want to fall asleep on the couch watching Love Jones with the dog with a bowl of popcorn?
If I want Love Jones, I'll call Nia Long. Hey, Nia. No, I don't want to Love Jones every day. No, I don't. Not every day. Because I'll tell you, the thing that I think, in my experience, ruins my relationships is when I'm smothered. When you're there too much and you're around too much and you're talking too much. I don't even want to hear you talk too much.
You don't have to talk.
If they're around, they're going to say something. They're going to. I can't escape it, right? The relationships I've liked the most have been the ones that where I'm working throughout the day, they go on a run for an hour, or they come back and they're in the gym, or they're in there playing the game, or they're somewhere. They ain't right up smoking a blunt somewhere.
That's
Don't
great.
be all up under me talking about stuff. Oh, I'm brushing my teeth and now you want to talk to me about some shit.
No, I'm not saying you have to be a puppy up under the person all day, but I don't want you to be in another house for 22 days of the month and then come over and then we like have sex and then you leave again. Like, I don't want that.
When we had healthcare unlocked, that was like a real full-time thing you had to be at. You were in Miami every week for how long? A week, right?
Yeah.
And then you would come home for a couple of days and then you would go right back. You did that for what, a year?
Yeah.
So what if you were in a relationship? That would be okay.
No, because I was being really.
I ain't gonna say it.
Say it, Rob.
The way they wore him out in public. Let's just get out of here.
Oh my God.
Help us,
We
God.
can't report him to HR because he is HR. But baby, when I tell you the shit he was doing, we went to a club one night, walked in, the security spoiled all his tea about how drunk and how messy he was. And Rob went off, started a whole commotion in the club to shut this man down from telling me what he was doing. Because I was loving every minute. I was like, tell me what he does. Tell me what he does. But you were living your life. But you were single. That's different.
Yeah.
It's
And
different.
people like, it's different in Miami. Like you brown, you're sexy. They don't care.
Go to Miami?
Yeah, we can't go
Ooh, no, I'm elected now.
He's a new father now. He wants a husband.
Please, black folks know how to put their kids up. All right, listen, that's it. Goodbye. Now it's time for some real therapeutic intervention. It's time for the deep dive. All right, Elliot Connie is here. Now listen, there's not that many people that I let get into my brain because, as you know, I work directly with the Lord and then to you. So it's the Lord out through this mic to you. But Elliot Connie is here, and as you know, I've been talking a lot about therapy, and this is the person that I'm in therapy with. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a round of applause.
Thank you.
Listen, it's been a journey. The last time I saw you, I was sworn in as city councilman for District 6 in Stockton, California. You came to the swearing in. It's been a journey since you started working with me.
It has. It's been an amazing journey, and I'm so proud of you. It's so awe-inspiring to watch your journey. Like it's cool.
Yeah. I talked to Elliot about everything from all the drama that you all give me online to who I want to fall in love with and how I want to fall in love. And it's been a journey, including my sobriety. I was telling people, you know, sobriety for me was a decision that I made, not based on any one event, but just I had woke up one day and just felt like, you know, this was the one thing that would lead me to the end of the cliff if I didn't get it together. And I ended up stopping with your help. And so thank you.
You're welcome. It's an honor, man. Privilege, for real.
All right, so you work with a lot of different celebrities. I know because of HIPAA, you can't say all their names here.
Correct.
You know, I have, everybody knows Tiffany and I are close, and Tiffany is one of your clients. I can say that because she and I have talked publicly about you. How different is it working with people like us that have these jobs versus regular people having regular day-to-day jobs?
Wow. It's both not different at all and incredibly different. Because the stresses, like I talk to a lot of people, I think fame and celebrity are bad for mental health, period.
In what way?
Because most people don't hear opinions about them as frequently as like a Jason Lee hears about himself.
Right.
And hearing all of that feedback, it's just unhealthy. Like it's really challenging and not good. But other than that, I mean, people are just people, man. Like I tell people all the time, doesn't matter whether you're a famous athlete or a famous actor or a famous business person, now politician, it doesn't matter. People are just people. You used that term yet?
What?
Politician?
No, but it's interesting because as I walk down the street in Stockton, by the way, I'm not walking down the street that often in life, but I'm walking down the street. People are driving by screaming out, Vice Mayor, Vice Mayor. And it's different, you know, but I'm telling people I'm an elected leader and not a politician because, as you know, we've been talking in therapy. For me, controlling my narrative is important. A lot of people watch you and people talk about them. And it is true. When you do have a lot of followers or a lot of attention on you in the spotlight, it is noisy when people are telling you who they think you are in the midst of you knowing
constantly.
Who you are.
And famous people you use that word noise. Like you can't really quiet your world. Like I could easily, just as a regular person, I could put on my social media, like, you know, I just had a good week in LA. See y'all next time. But if you put that, it's like, why do you use some of your money and fame and power to fix the fires that were going? Like, it's like a constant barrage of people telling you how you should be living, how you should be thinking, what you should be doing. And that's challenging to anybody's mental health. Like, that's challenging.
Well, now being an elected leader, I want to ask your opinion because Rob was telling me yesterday when I was telling him how I wanted to burn the internet down. When I say burn the internet down, I don't necessarily mean burn it down the way that all of you have wanted me to over the years or how you see me. Meaning like being honest. I ran on truth, trust, and transparency, spilling the tea. And so I'll give you the scenario and what I want to do, and I want you to tell me if this would be right or wrong.
Goodness. Okay.
I won't say the person's name or whatever. Okay, through my journey of getting here, I have been working on how I deliver, how I just don't go burn the internet down, but at least, still keep it real and tell my point of view. Somebody who's connected to famous people attended a fundraiser that I had that Rihanna hosted to raise money for the young kids in my community. You know how important the young kids are.
100%.
Okay. They did not pay. The ticket was $10,000. They knew it was $10,000. They confirmed $10,000. They did not pay it. And they've been out elevating and acting as if they're the culture and da-da-da-da. And I'm sitting here watching it, knowing the need in my community, knowing how you played me. And I want to educate and inform the world as an example of the grace I gave, but how yet and still I was taken advantage of. Would I be wrong to say that?
No.
That's what I said. But people will take that as being messy. Why is that being messy to tell the truth when the truth is your truth?
So not just for you, but for everybody. But using you as an example, like your authenticity is your superpower. So I think it would be wrong if you had said, I'm mad at this person and I'm going to attack them and I'm going to try to ruin them. Then I would say, no, I don't think you should do that because that's coming from a very different place. But your authentic positioning is, I don't like the way they played me. That money actually had nothing to do with you. That money had to do with the youth in Stockton. And if you're like, look, I want to call it out and address it, you should always, always, always choose authenticity. And that's true for everybody. Like the most authentic path you can walk is always the best path for you and your mental health.
Now, is it messy? Okay, so I'm going to put a pin in that. That video's coming. Just stay tuned to my Instagram. It's coming. And he told me
and you're welcome. You're welcome.
So it is what it is. Now, on the other hand, one thing I've been struggling with, and by the way, I got to give him permission on camera, of course, so y'all don't try it, to talk about personal things that we've been dealing with in therapy if it comes out in normal conversation. But I've been given a lot of celebrities grace over the years, not reporting on some things, not sharing this, absolving them of being accountable here, there. And I'm at a point in my career now where I can't be in the weeds of all those moving parts and protecting people that don't support the platforms. And we just want to share whatever's out there. Would that be wrong if it does impact other people in a very critical way?
I would ask you to take it on a case-by-case basis and always choose the most authentic response. That's what I would say.
Basically, he said, go ahead and
That's
tell the
not
truth. Well, I am backing up from the day-to-day operations of Hollywood Unlocked to allow my staff to be in the front so they can use their best judgment under the vision I've set to deliver the news. And people can waste their time, not mine, because I have to focus on being the vice mayor, moving my agenda, and building my business.
Yes.
And let's be clear, writing a book every year because Elliot now has written another book. The last time I saw Elliot in a setting like this was on The Breakfast Club when I co-hosted and we had a whole conversation about his last book, which was the solution-focused brief Therapy, Diamond. And that book is where we talked about, as part of that whole conversation, my relationship with my father. I talked about how I had ended my relationship with him. I had received closure. I had learned that forgiveness in the passing of my mother was something that I needed to do for me and to be able to allow people to move on. I had that with my father. And then 2 days after that interview, he passed away. And people didn't understand after watching that show why I was being petty. But for me, I was being responsible to my own needs, right?
I think that's true. People actually came after me because I talked about my journey with my father. I haven't talked to my father in 20 plus years. I actually saw him a few months ago for the first time in a really long time. But people were like, that dude clearly needs to fix him. I think people misunderstand when you implement boundaries in your life. And most people don't understand the very simple idea that forgiveness does not equal access. So like, if you are still an unhealthy person, I forgive you. And I genuinely forgive my father. Like I understand what happened in his life that caused him to be the guy that he ended up being. And I have no anger or resentment towards him. But if you are still toxic, you just don't get access.
Right.
And I think people confuse that. You're being mean, you're being petty. No, I'm not. I'm being very loving and kind to me and the people around me by not allowing myself to be impacted by his toxicity. And I think that's an important lesson. Like, people need to understand that forgiveness does not equal access.
And I have healed, and through that whole process, I didn't. I mean, I grieved in my own way. I wasn't sad about it because I had the closure already. And for me, and hopefully for people out there that are struggling with grieving or closure, when you close something, you grieve that and close it and leave it there.
Facts.
And I had done that, and that was probably the singular most important thing or gift that I gave to myself, because it allows me to stay the course.
That's right.
Now, you just said forgiveness doesn't allow them access. What did you just say?
Forgiveness does not equal access.
That is why I'm saying to the industry, I'm applying that, right? Access to me is a privilege.
Should be, yes.
Not in no egotistical way, but just having access to one another is not a right. It's a privilege or an honor that somebody bestows on another individual.
That is 1,000% true.
And so what I had arrived at was, and this was just kind of processing all of our conversations, that I have allowed myself to be accessible by lots of people, friends that need something, or the family, the celebrities. Now I'm saying to have access, you can have access to me through my show, through my podcast, through my team, but to have access to me to process challenges that you're going through as it results to information that's out there that we're sharing with our audience, that is not a privilege I want to give somebody that we don't have an established relationship with.
I think that's smart. And again, going back to like the issues famous people deal with, I was hanging out at an event with a very, very famous woman, and she was leaving like the green room of this event and walking to the elevator. And she was exhausted, and she had given that audience everything she could give that audience. And as we're walking, people are trying to fight through security just to touch her. And you could see, like, these people are not thinking about you. They're just thinking about, can they have that moment with you, or can they have that picture with you, or can they just say, I touched that person? And when you have the level of people around you, you have to be able to discern who gets access to me. And I love the way you put that. I think it should be a privilege to be around you, but not just because you're Jason Lee and successful and famous and all that.
And the vice mayor.
And the vice mayor, sorry. But for all people, like, access to you should be considered a privilege. And not everybody wants to be around you for good intentions. And I know that there have been people around you that had their own selfish needs driving their desire to be around you and having nothing to do what they could bring to you. And that's true for everybody. Like, you have to be very careful on who you let around you, because their energy is going to impact your life.
And the reason I'm bringing this up is because everybody watching has their own needs of boundaries that need to be implemented. I think
100%.
A lot of friends that I have are just wandering through life figuring it out. And I know that there was a time where I was wandering through life figuring it out. And I do feel like boundary setting and holding people accountable to how they treat you, and teaching people how to treat you and holding them accountable to that, is an important part of your self-love journey. You know, I started my self-love journey, as most people watch, with Tiffany telling me that I need to love myself from a position of self-acceptance and forgiveness. And I've been working a lot on that. And then, even as now the vice mayor or in city council, I'm saying to the community, we have to love each other. We don't get to beat each other up because I'm in a public servant position. You know, that expectation that let me dump on you because I elected you, that is not true. That is not, at least in my experience, that ain't going down. It's about reciprocity, mutual respect, and building partnership. Is that fair?
That is 100% fair. Absolutely. Like we have to learn how to love ourselves and love our community. And watching what you're doing in Stockton, that was a cool experience, because there was a lot of love, and I'll interject a new word here, but there was a lot of hope in that room. And people were excited about what you potentially could do in Stockton, and what you were saying, and the rest of the city council was saying that they could do in Stockton. And anytime you want to create a positive change, whether it's systemically like what you're doing in Stockton, whether you're trying to change something in your life, it actually starts with love. It starts with the ability to love oneself. And when you build that, everything can't help but change.
So the book, Change Your Questions, Change Your Future. First of all, how did you write another book so fast?
Chat GPT. No, I'm just kidding. Actually,
I have the app on my phone, by the way.
I actually sat down with my co-author, and to be honest with you, we've been actually thinking about that book for a decade. That's my 6th book. And I would say everything in my clinical work, my clinical life, all the lectures, all the everything, like, led to that book. Like, I'm proud of that book in a way that I'm proud of almost nothing in my life as much as that book.
So the subtitle or at the end says, overcome challenges and create a new vision for your life using the principles of solution-focused brief therapy. Now, if I took this title on its surface and applied this to dating.
Okay.
What questions am I asking that are wrong so I can change my future? And how do I overcome the challenge with these ninjas and create a new vision for my life? Because and let me tell you all, all think that I'm not intentionally dating because I think people think I'm full of shit. They think I'm really not trying. I have asked people that I have talked to come to therapy with me. You've met one. Yes. Did you meet one or more than one?
More than one.
Look, I'm working here. You met them. I've tried.
Yes.
You've told me go to the public gym because I built the gym at home. Now that I'm in Stockton and I'm working in LA, I'm in the gym. Yes. I'm meeting people. Why do you think I'm still single? What is wrong with me?
Well, see, okay, I cannot answer that second. The first question, what kind of questions do you need to ask yourself? I can answer that.
Okay.
I cannot answer things like dating are difficult because they require effort from something you have no control over. But I will say, like, the most powerful thing you can do in your life is ask yourself questions. And people who are successful in life, as an example, they have a tendency to ask themselves very different questions. And I talk about Tiffany often. Like, Tiffany has one of the most fascinating brains I've ever seen. She has a tendency not to see barriers. It's an unusual thing. But, like, if I were to say to Tiffany, I want to write another book, and then if I were to say, but I'm not sure I have time, Tiffany's like, what are you talking about? Like, you if you want to write the book, you like figure it out. Like,
right.
And that comes from the way she has learned to talk to herself. And that really is based on questions. You do the same thing. You have a very fascinating mind. You set an intention. I don't know if you've ever told people publicly the story of meeting Michael Jackson, but like you have an incredible, like, not can I do it, but like, how will I do this?
Yeah.
And that leads to you accomplishing things that other people
I will run for city council.
Yes.
And then run and become the vice mayor.
And it turns into the thing I just said, which is at the time in which you stated is usually crazy. Like, I think I want to be in city council. It turns into, so how do I do this?
Yeah.
And then you do it. So dating is the same mindset. It's like, how do I, like, first of all, what's the thing that I want? And with as much clarity as possible, your thoughts about Stockton, California are extraordinarily specific. You immediately were like, I'm going to call this person and ask them to do this in the city of Stockton. I'm going to call this person and ask them to donate this specific amount of money in the city. Like, your thoughts about change in Stockton are extraordinarily specific. Your thoughts about dating have to be equally specific.
Well, they're not.
But
that's because I don't know why that is. This is the thing that I'm in now trying to figure out. And some of you out there, I'm speaking specifically to all the single people who are struggling finding love. What is it that I'm not asking myself that I want out of a partner? Or what is it?
Specificity.
Yeah.
When was the last time you got, like, fitted for a suit?
For my swearing in.
Okay. When you are going to, because we were on the phone one time when you were getting fitted. I think it was for your award show.
Okay. Right. And I was supposed to get my date fitted, the one that was in therapy, but because they didn't call back, I brought another date and got them fitted. Yeah, but see, again,
I wasn't going to bring any of that up.
Okay.
But we were on the phone, and you were like, I'm getting fitted. And you had extremely specific thoughts about what you were going to wear. When we go dating, we're just like, I'm just looking for someone I'm attracted to. Like, no. You didn't go to that tailor like, I'm just looking for a suit that I kind of will like. No, you were like, I want this exact thing. And dating has to be the same. You have to sit and think, like, how tall should this person be? What industry would I prefer them to be working in? Should they have children or not? What hobbies do I want to be? Like, literally as specific as possible. And once you get that clear, then you start noticing it. But if you don't know what you're looking for, you could literally be out on the street and the exact person that is tailored for you will just walk by and you won't notice it because you're not looking for it.
So I did this to Rob. I told the story on the last podcast where I was out at 7-Eleven and I saw a homeless person that looked like Rob's type. I mean, I could see through the dirt and the despair. I took them back to Rob's house to clean them up for him. He got mad because I brought somebody back.
You literally did that?
I literally did that. Because you never know who's, like, and I use that as an example to say in my mind, I'm not thinking I need to have a 6'1", he needs to be on the board of AmFAR. Does it have to be that specific?
Yeah. God. But just think about.
But then when you start going through that, it limits you. It limits you, I think.
It does, but it also programs your brain. Have you ever like, I'll tell you a story and then ask if you've ever had a similar experience. When I was a kid, my dream car was the 2-door Honda Accord coupe.
Why?
I don't know. I just thought that was dope. I can't, and I was super poor. So that was that was like my dream car. And when I was in graduate school, my first job, with an education, I was making like $30K a year or whatever. And I went to the dealership and I bought a red Honda 2-door coupe. When I pulled out of the dealership, it was like all of a sudden every car on the road was a red Honda Accord. Like because I now purchased it, that's all I could see. Because your brain is like programmed to look for the thing that you're noticing. So it feels limiting, but when you like get really specific, your brain programs to look for it and you'll start noticing much more of it. But most people, including my friend Jason, aren't that specific with what they're looking for. You're kind of looking for a feeling.
Well, that must be why I find so many broken people. Because for a long time, I want to rescue. And
yes.
You followed this show for I don't know how many years. You know how many damaged birds have been in this cage.
Jesus.
But I do want to get to the, it does, the idea of having a partner that has their own, that is successful, that can provide, is a good idea. But my industry, and I don't know if it's just me, because there's this lingering narrative that I think scares people when it comes to dealing with me. But it's something that I've been working on. I mean, you've met a couple of them, and we're going to keep figuring that out. Because now I'm challenging myself to say, what is it that I really want, and where is that person?
And be as specific as you are. When you decided to run for city council, one of the things you had to do was spend more time in Stockton, right?
Yeah.
And in doing so, you had to build.
I had to move back.
Right. With more time in Stockton.
Right.
And you had to put an office in Stockton.
Yes.
How specific were you in what you were looking for in the movement back to Stockton and the office you had to put there?
Yeah.
Like you're very specific.
Yeah.
And if someone showed you, hey, Jason, how about this? No, that's not the thing I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Hey, how about that? No, that's not the thing I'm looking for. And when you saw it, you're like, this is exactly it.
Yeah, well, every time I ask somebody to show me something to date, it's like nobody knows what I'm looking for.
So with the dating, you got to sit down with yourself and ask yourself, what's exactly what I'm looking for? And idealize it. Because have you noticed how many of the idealistic things you have thought about and been specific about that you have actually manifested, that you have actually created?
Yeah, I know. I can get anything I want, I get. But when it applies to this, I'm challenging myself
because
now.
you haven't done that step.
Well, look, he told me to put it out there. He said go to social media and say that. It seems so desperate, so I'm actually doing it on my show. Johnny messed up last episode and then put datejason@hollywoodunlocked.com in the thing. So here it is.
Did he create that email address?
We did now, so we're putting in this show. Datejason, @hollywoodunlocked.com. All right, so the book. Tell us about the book, and what do people get from reading this book? Because I already know this is going to help wire them into channeling the things in their life that they need.
They will learn how to talk to themselves differently. Like people who have challenged mental health, people who have struggles in their mental health, they ask themselves why and not how. So like, why am I drinking? Why do I keep making this mistake? Why? And that will never lead to change. Like if I talk to someone who has a drug addiction, and I know this, I've been practicing psychotherapy for nearly 20 years. I could explain to you why you have a drug addiction or depression or anxiety or whatever the thing is, and that doesn't change it in any way, shape, or form. We have to learn how to ask ourselves two really powerful questions, which we just got to related to your dating. Number one is, what do I want? Most people don't know what they want. They only know what they don't want. And just to tell you how foolish of a concept that is, most people, I'm telling you, we're terrible at knowing what we want. We only know what we don't want. So imagine if you get into a taxi cab, right? You're in some foreign city to you, and you get into a taxi cab, and the cab driver turns to you and says, where would you like to go? And you say, anywhere but here. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
The cab driver wouldn't be able to take you anyplace. You've got to be able to say, like, here's the very specific thing I want. And most people don't spend any time thinking about the thing that they want. They spend like, how do I get out of this? So the first question you got to learn to ask yourself is, what is it that I want in relationships, in business, in family, in life, like in every area of life? Like, what do I want? And then the second question is, how do I manifest it? How do I create it? How do I notice it happening? And when you reprogram your brain to switch from why to how, your life becomes incredible. Like, your life is one of the most surreal lives I've ever heard of on many levels, people. But part of it is because you got very good at like, this is what I'm creating. And it's beautiful. It's an amazing thing to see. I actually think I'm in awe of people like you and people like Tiffany, because like I said earlier, like your brains are not typical. And part of that is you did a thing I have a tremendous amount of respect for. You went through some hardships in life and somehow turned those hardships into drive. And a lot of people, the hardships become the traumas that fuel all their problems through life. But with certain people, Tiffany Haddish being one, Jason Lee being another, and others, you just examples here, you turn those hardships into like mental strength. And that's what you learn in that book is like, how do I turn the experiences I have in life into like mental strength? And how do I take some time? You wouldn't have any of the things you have if you didn't learn like to ask yourself, what do I want? I want my own talk show. And your brain is, and I'm fascinated by brains. So sorry, everybody, if I'm talking about brains, but brains and people's thoughts are so fascinating to me. You actually said, I want a talk show. And lots of people said no. One person, I think, told like, you're not famous enough to have your own talk show.
Yeah, he told me I wasn't big enough.
Yeah, like, but whereas most people hear that kind of rejection and they get angry, get mad, they give up on their dream, it actually pissed you off to the point where you said, now I'm definitely doing it.
Well, and I just found out that person doesn't even work for his company anymore.
See, there's the petty part.
No, but I mean, it's like you weren't even big enough to stay around your own company.
Right.
But had I allowed that person to dim my light, I wouldn't have pursued
Which most
what I
people
wanted to
do. Most people ask for permission to do something. In this case, I want my own TV show. Someone says, who has some influence and power, says, you're not big enough to do that. And it drove you. Like, now I'm definitely doing it.
But I also think that that's the singular thing that motivates me or drives me, even with the award show being another example, writing a book being another, sobriety, waking up one day and just deciding I'm not going to do it, or running for office. I think now I'm becoming more intrigued on how to adopt that around all areas. So I use dating as an example because that is the one thing now that I feel like is the missing piece, because I need to sit down and really decide what I want. Because I have gone from like, I want to date to like, I want to get married to found the rings to like, fuck it, I'm just going to be single forever. So I need to decide that.
But your question, like, what do people get in the book? You learn how to think like someone like Jason Lee. You learn how to think like someone like Tiffany Haddish. Being in the psychotherapy field, I'm aware of all these self-help books and all the things. And for 10 years, I was like, I want to write a self-help book that really shifts how people think. Not just like, wake up in the morning and don't hit snooze, or like jump out of bed and jump into a cold plunge, but like that really transforms how you think. Because no matter what you set your intention on, there's going to be a barrier between where you start and the accomplishment of the intention. And then there's just people like you, and there's people like Tiffany, that they have an ability to say, yes, there's a barrier, but I'm very good at overcoming these barriers. And those of you who've never been up to the Hollywood Unlocked Studios, which I imagine most of you have not, when you walk into the studio, the first thing you encounter is a welcome to the Hollywood Unlocked Studios like sign, but you turn left and you walk into the like suite, and the first thing you encounter is the Jason Lee show set. The very set someone told you are not big enough to have. So think about when people tell you like, you're not gonna get sober, or think about when someone tells you like, you're not gonna be able to get that job, or you're not gonna be able to get that degree. Someone told me when I said I had an idea to write a book, they told me, oh, you're never gonna be able to write a book. That's my 6th. But like, no matter what you set your intention to, there's gonna be a barrier to it. So it's important to like learn how to think in a way that helps you transform the barrier into a success story. And your story, your story is remarkable because there were lots of barriers. Like starting in the foster care system in Stockton, you were shot in the city in which you were now vice mayor of. Like those things are super impactful, and people need to learn. Like maybe the person watching this, you're not going to be shot, and you might not be vice mayor, but maybe your mom wasn't around, or maybe you caught your partner sleeping around, and you're just devastated, and you got that dream, like you want to become an artist, or you want to work for Disney, or whatever it is. You have to learn how to overcome the challenge and make the reality become the way that you want it. And I'm fascinated, man, when I hang out with people in this industry who have come out on the other side. Like, you guys all have a way, and every single successful person in entertainment, there was someone that told them why they couldn't and shouldn't succeed. But you guys came out on the other side somehow. And that's what the book is about. It'll show you how to, you don't have to become Jason Lee and be an entertainment mogul or vice mayor. You can literally like accomplish whatever the thing is you want to accomplish. Maybe you want to own a car dealership or whatever it is. Doesn't matter. In your case, dating. I want you to be as specific about dating as you are about your tailored suits when you're going to an award show.
Yeah, but again, like I will say, I saw related to Hollywood Unlocked Studios the other day on Facebook. It said 2-year anniversary since we had the show.
Yeah.
So we've been here now about 2 years with the show and all that. And I thought, what is Hollywood Unlocked Studios going to be in 2 more years? Is it going to be Tyler Perry Studios? Because I really feel that, and hopefully people watching from this are getting this, and through this book, getting Change Your Questions, Change Your Future, is that you can literally do anything or become anything that you want. And when I think about the evolution of where I'm going, I never imagined a podcast like this or my own show or my own set or whatever. So yeah, I do believe that. And I now need to challenge myself of how do I apply it to all areas?
Which is, it's the exact same. It's literally being as specific in your intention as you are about everything else. I know that I can't just, because I know you well, right? I know I can't just be like, oh, Jason, put this on. Like, I know that does not work, because if you're going to a thing like an award show, in your head, I know exactly how I want to look.
Right.
You know how you want your hair to look.
Yeah, but I also,
like
but I think that what I'm getting ready to say is probably the reason why I'm single, is I'm very intentional about the things that I want. And I think with dating, I want to date, but I'm not intentional about exactly what I want to date.
Yes.
Because when I took the person to the award show who happened to be Italian or French, everybody said, "Oh, he white, so now Jason's in the Illuminati." I said, "I'm not in the Illuminati." Then when I said I was dating somebody, I called him Crip Bay. It came up in my debate where they said, "Oh, he's dating a Crip." Well, Crips' lives matter too. People are people. People have had past. I don't date active gang members, but people who've been through things like I've been through things, still have value. And so I think like I'm trying to figure that piece out. But even in my own relationship with Queen Latifah that you and I had talked about in therapy, that I talked about recently on somewhere, I think it was maybe on my podcast I talked about, or an interview, or I did at the Breakfast Club. I talked about the fact that I learned that I had developed abandonment issues with my mom in her not necessarily showing up publicly the way that I've wanted her to. My audiences wanted her to, but the love is still the same. Back in the day, Jason would be like, throw the baby out with the bathwater. Oh my God, you don't love me, because that was how I reacted to my family. Now I'm learning that relationships change, or if they evolve into other things, or chapters you may have spent with people or what they are. It doesn't make it good or bad. It just is what it is.
Right.
So I've been able to learn how to process relationships. I think all of what I'm experiencing, especially like the evolution of me as a person, is leading me into being prepared for the relationship that I'm looking for.
Well, that's right. And while you were talking, I thought of another thing, because I one day asked you, you and Tiffany are very, very close.
We are not going to date.
No, even though I agree.
Tiffany is probably working on that in her therapy session with it. That ain't going to happen, but I love her nonetheless.
Yes, but you're very close. And I asked you once, how did you meet Tiffany?
Yeah.
And you told me the story of like you saw her in a movie and you were like, I think she's really dope. I want to be friends with her.
I did.
And now you're like best friends.
Yes.
That's the specificity.
Well, I will say, we're not going to say any names. You do know there is one person that I am focused on.
I do know, yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And I'm going to do everything I can to pursue that the way I pursued Tiffany's friendship and all that. Okay. I'm going to do that. I'm doing it.
Okay,
I'm doing it. But but still send the emails, because I'm still open. I'm still single.
Yes. And that to me is how you like, will it work with this person? Maybe, maybe not. But just the setting of the intention puts you on the path.
Yeah.
And like for me, I'll give you another example of this. Like My life looks way different. When I was growing up, I had such a difficult childhood, and through that process, I wanted to help people heal, so I became a psychotherapist. And I'll tell you a really funny story on. So anyway, poor, super poor, and my very first job, I hadn't even graduated with my undergrad degree yet, and my job was working at a brain treatment center, and I would drive the company van, and take the residents of the brain treatment center all these places. And one day, I stopped and got lunch. I got into an accident in the parking lot of the store, and I was like, shit, I'm just gonna drive off. I'm not. And I thought that's gonna be wrong. So I wrote a note, left. The guy eventually calls me, and he's like, hey, I took my thing to a shop, 3 estimates. It's gonna cost $900. I had no money at the time, and I was like, look, I can't afford that. Can I pay you in installments? I'll bring you $300 a month for the next 3 months. And the guy was like, yes. He worked at a place called Radio Shack, and I would go to his job and bring him $300 every month. At the end of that, he was like, man, I've never met, I was 21 at the time. He said, you're very young and responsible. I want to give you a job. He said, I want to get you into the manager's program at Radio Shack. Now, the good thing is you start in the program immediately, but you start making a manager's salary while you're in training. I was like, oh, how much is a manager's salary? He said $100,000. I said, man, let me think about it. I went home and I prayed about it and I thought about it. And I came back and I said, man, I can't do it. Now, I was poor. I was 6 months away from graduating with an undergraduate degree. $100,000 would have changed my life. But I said no, because it wasn't in line with what I was trying to create. Years later, I've got a multi-million-dollar training company, and I was driving somewhere and I saw Radio Shack going out of business. And it was like, if I had allowed myself to get distracted off the path I was going, I wouldn't have TV shows in development. I wouldn't have the multi-million-dollar company. I wouldn't have the things that I have, because you have to set the intention. So you are now saying, like, there is a person who I've set the intention on. This person, like, fits the things that I would want in a person. So I'm setting that intention. Will it work with that person or not is almost irrelevant, because it's going to have me on the path where things will work out for me in the right way. So being that intentional, I'm so glad to hear you say, all right, I'm doing it. I'm going after this human being.
And this is why I share my own personal revelations with all of you, because in my own story, hopefully you're hearing yours. There's somebody out there that's single, that's sitting up there feeling as miserable as me, looking at their dogs, happy with the rest of their life, but maybe wanting love. You know, take these lessons that he's saying I should apply to my life and apply them to yours. Because
True.
there's people I know that sit in my comments and that they want me to be in love. They're also wanting to be in love. You know, nobody wants to be single forever. Maybe some of you do, because y'all hoes, and that's whatever. Get your own therapist. But, you know, for people who are listening and wanting to explore their own love life, do that. I do want to say it's interesting as you say that, because when I think about my own life, and those of you who are wanting to pursue other things, even my own team, but y'all can't quit yet. You have to be very clear about where you want to go, right? It doesn't mean that you have to do it today or tomorrow. Like, for example, you're on your 6th book. It's his 6th book. The 2nd book, since I've seen him in the last year, motivated me to tell my team, we have to step it up. And as I look at my brand holistically, I have a lot I want to give to my audience. So I now have said as a challenge, I want to do 1 book a year. Yes. That is my intention. And it's a very clear thing. And so that's something that you inspired. And you talk about now going to a network and do a network deal. We're not going to say the network, although the head of the network just texted me about something else. You're working on developing a project. Talk about that.
I'm working on developing 2 projects. One of them is a reality show. Like my biggest passion is mental health. So the first one is an unscripted show where I'm highlighting really uber successful people, some in the entertainment industry, some not, about their mental health journeys and the obstacles they overcome to get there.
Why have you not invited me on that? I would do that.
Well, because the show hasn't, like, trust me, you're going to be on the show. Okay. You will be one of the people on the show.
Now I'm going to come on that episode and talk about all the things that are fucked up.
Yeah, you're going to be, it's going to be a real cool show, because I want to show mental health in a whole different world. Like, I often say, this is going to be me going super deep, but I believe that mental health is the last mountain of the civil rights movement for Black people. Mm-hmm. And the reason I believe that is, think about how much, like, equality you have to have in society in order to focus on mental health. We could define mental health as the act of waking up every day, expecting a good day and not getting it. right? Like we could describe mental health as that. So think about in the history of African Americans in this country, how long have we been waking up expecting a good day? Like, do you think slaves were waking up expecting to have a good day?
Did you heard in my speech? What did I say about slaves? I said the most important part of my journey has been giving the slaves their book backs as it relates to giving them information.
That's right.
Because that is freedom.
That's right. It's 100% true. So if I'm around during the worst parts of American history as a Black man, I didn't wake up expecting to have a happy day. So if I were around in like 1820 and you and I are having this conversation and I said to you like, hey man, I think I got PTSD. You'd be like, man, me too. Like we all struggling with these things. But through the civil rights movement, like we get to wake up and say, I want to feel better. And you have to have a baseline of goodness just to even pursue that. So in doing that, like I've been put in a position where I get to make TV shows, one of them unscripted, which is going to be that, like talking to people about like, how did you encounter a challenge and overcome that challenge? When people look at people like you, and I know this because I talk to like regular people, when people look at people like you, they just think, oh, Jason had it easy. He met the right person at the right time, and it was all kind of smooth.
A lot of people think I just lucked my way into it all.
People have a tendency to think success is luck.
I have to wake up every day and go, I know the internet's going to fuck with me today. I know, because a lot of people project their PTSD and trauma on me in the comments.
That's 100% true.
So when
they do it to me in the comments. 100% true. 100% true.
So when I look at it now, I just go, you're fucked up, not me.
I'm a psychotherapist, and people project on me all day long, and I'm like, look, I know what y'all doing. Like, this is crazy. But the truth is, you are here through hard work and effort, but the most important thing is resilience. You heard no, you got beaten down, you got all these things, and you kept moving. So I want the show to highlight success isn't luck. It's someone, they got knocked down 1,000 times, but they just happened to get up 1,001 times. Right. And then the scripted show, which I'm super excited about. I don't know if I should be talking about it, but I'm going to say this. It's a show based on my life where the main character is going to be a psychotherapist. I was texting the person who's going to be the director of it the other day, and it's just an epic.
I know who that person is.
You do. She told me to tell you. She told me to tell you.
Don't say she, because people know who it's small world.
Okay. They
use that pronoun.
They wanted me to tell you they love you and to tell you how.
I know they do. Hello.
So we were texting about like who's
they should have been at my swearing in.
They would have had they not been on fire.
They weren't.
But if we talked about like who's going to play which character and those sort of things, it's going to be a scripted version of showing how mental health can make a massive impact on inner city youth in the Black community.
Okay, I'm going to pitch you a show right now that you should do. Okay. But if you do, I need to be executive producer because it's my idea.
Done. All right.
Okay. You should do a scripted show, sort of like Dexter, where the Dexter is the therapist.
Okay, but Dexter's like he's like a serial killer.
Well, he's dealing with all the psychopathic pathic celebrities of the industry. So every celebrity that they are a therapist to, that person is a psychopath that we don't know about.
Okay.
Figure that out. Okay. I want to go to something really quick. You were at the Hollywood Unlocked Impact Awards where I chose to honor Jonathan Majors.
Yes.
The whole world reacted to that and lost their minds when we just announced that we were going to honor him with the Perseverance Award.
Yes.
And then that Iyanla Van Zandt, the Fix Your Life queen of the world, was going to present to him. And then when they saw it, even up to just yesterday, somebody online was calling it all bullshit. Now, since the award show, he's been cleared of all the charges. And now the world, in some regard, is going, Jason got it right. When you watched it all unpacking online and in person, what were your thoughts about it all?
Wow. Well, first of all, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it online, but I can speak to what happened in person. That was an incredibly... First of all, if anybody say that was like scripted or made up or whatever, that was an incredibly emotional moment for a man to have on that stage in front of a bazillion people. I mean, the whole room was crying. It was an extremely touching moment. And the other thing I'll say too, like, look, I'm a psychotherapist. I've been really doing this for like 20 years. There's a lot, and could get on a soapbox about this, but there are a lot of like mental health professionals, but they didn't spend 2 decades sitting in an office doing therapy and nothing else. Like they were social media personalities and all that. I literally spent 20 years seeing 10 clients a day. Like that's what I did before I got discovered. So I can tell you that people make mistakes, and people make mistakes in relationships. And one of the other things that makes fame such a challenge to people with mental health is you make mistakes in public. You make very human mistakes that everybody makes all the time, but you make them in public. And Jonathan Major had a public mistake. Turns out not to be a crime. They dropped all of the things, but he made a very public mistake. And just like all people, like we deserve the ability to bounce back and to become a better version of ourselves. And it just felt like, and this might be even too big to say what it was like in the room. It felt like a rebirth of Jonathan Major. That's what it felt like. It felt like his kind of like, just like a coming of age of this man who's maturing in front of everybody. And it was an epically touching moment. So if any of y'all were in the comments talking about how this was just for clicks or anything, no, this was about that man like accepting his humanness and trying to move forward as a man, and nobody in that room had a dry eye.
Well, I have another perspective too. A lot of you in the comments that couldn't embrace that have been denied your own ability to be redeemed. And I think that makes us all somewhere inherently believe that we're not subject to the redemption process. For me, it was the opportunity to give to him what I could have gave my mom years ago, but learned in her passing that she deserved redemption, right? People deserve to be redeemed. We are all redeemable products in the world. And I just feel like, again, we live in a world of cancel culture where people feel like it's wrong. And I think people's reaction to it was less about him not deserving it, but believing that the culture saying that in which you're canceled, you don't deserve to come back from that. We need to get past that. So it was bigger than just Jonathan, but I'm glad he was able to get it, and I was glad people were able to watch it. And I hopefully people process it. And then to come on outside of that and say, now all the charges are dropped, takes us all back to Emmett Till, Central Park 5, when people have been accused of things that they weren't necessarily guilty of, to then later on be clear.
Look, not to make, I'll say two things. All of you in the comments, all the people in the comments who were like criticizing that decision in that moment, you're all guilty of whatever mistakes that you've made. Like no one is like, I'm better than that, so thus I get to criticize Jason's decision or Jonathan Major's or whatever. And the other thing I'll say is accusations against the black man historically have far greater impact and far greater ability to not just cancel, but die. And like there are people in white Hollywood that are literal murderers. And I don't remember anybody saying that they should not be actors. Like I'm thinking of somebody in particular, but like I don't remember anybody saying that that person shouldn't get a job or that person, whatever. But Jonathan Major does something and people are like, he should never work again. And it's crazy. It is the kind of like continuation of a racist story that people of color don't get the same leeway and don't get the same level of leash that other people do.
Well, to that point, congratulations to President Donald Trump on him taking office again and being.
That's not the person I was thinking of, by the way, when I said they're literal murder.
In on Martin Luther King Day. I can't. Listen, let me give you your flowers.
That literally scared the shit out of me.
Surprise. Change your questions, change your future. Go get it right now. Follow Elliot Connie on social media and make sure you stay tapped in. I'm going to be writing my book, one book a year, as a result of our relationship and your influence on me. And thank you. We started our therapeutic process with me saying, okay, tell me what's wrong with me. And he said, there's nothing wrong with you. Just tell me what you want to work on. And just in that sentence alone, sometimes just a small shift in how we approach people, approach things makes life a lot easier. And look, now as a result of me stop drinking, stop dating all you know nothing ass motherfuckers, and stay in the course, I'm now the vice mayor of my city. So the city where I used to run the streets, I now am back running, and we'll get to the destination I said, because as you said, I am very intentional.
And I'm gonna say this in front of everybody. This is my This is my psychotherapist psychic prediction, is Jason Lee's political aspirations will not stop here. I don't know where you are going, but I don't believe they will stop here.
Well, let me first say I received that. Thank you. And that is you saying that based on what you believe I'm capable of doing.
But it's also me watching the pattern. Now, I'm not.
But let me say, because the Stockton folks that are watching right now, I have in this moment right now, no aspirations beyond what I'm doing.
This is not anything he said.
And listen, I am hearing this from everybody. I'm being called by senators, congressmen. I'm being called by governor. I get it. I appreciate it. I am so laser focused to do in Stockton what you say I do in everything else.
He has never talked to me about anything other than transforming Stockton.
I can't even think of all these other things, but I am focused. But I'm hearing it, but I'm focused. Okay, now go.
Yeah, I want to be very clear. He has not said anything other than 10,000 ideas to make Stockton safer, better, more wonderful. But you are, like, there are certain people that we refer to as helium balloons, and they just rise. And you are going to continue to rise. So my prediction, at some point, he's going to serve the city of Stockton with devotion, with intention, and he will be something. He's going to continue to rise, maybe within Stockton, but my prediction is one day he'll be on this platform and he will no longer be referring to himself as vice mayor. He'll be referring to himself as something else that he has elevated.
Well, what I love about the timing of everything I'm doing is I've committed 8 years to Stockton in this capacity. Yep. So in 8 years, Hollywood Unlocked will be sold, and I won't be in a podcast every week, and I'll have a lot more freedom to do a lot more things. But as of right now, I love the fact that this is my day job. I have somebody that can help me find love and focus on my thoughts through all of this. And if and when I'm called to do more, it will because there will be more of a need there to do that.
Yeah, I agree. And that's how you got to where you are now with Stockton. I just think you have a way about yourself, and it's not going to surprise me when I find out Jason has now run for this other thing.
Well, not going to change my question. I'm still focused on Stockton. And so I'm not going to change my future because it's going to be in Stockton. Get the book, follow Elliot. All right. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, man.
Don't be a stranger.
I will not.
So, I mean, those were pretty good lessons, right?
Absolutely.
Did it make you reconsider your dating efforts?
It did. I need to be a lot more specific, so I'm going to start writing some things down.
I love Elliot. I'm so happy he came.
Listen, there's so many things going on in this world. Dating is a priority. Building Stockton is a priority. Building Hollywood Unlocked, but we do have to make time for love because, you and I, we're going to be like the Golden Girls.
That's cute, too.
We are.
And, all this, the corrupted church pastors and all this, there's a lot going on in the world. Don't let that prevent you from asking God to give you the person that you need in your life. All right, that's it. Bye.
The Jason Lee Podcast.